Let's take you now to your top consumer headlines. President Donald Trump appears poised to impose new tariffs on certain drug companies. That is according to a draft of his order and a source familiar with the matter. The duties are aimed at companies that don't have most favored nation pricing deals with the U.S. The draft suggests they could be 100% and apply to patented drugs and active ingredients. It's unclear what medications might get exemptions.
Donald Trump has announced 100% tariffs on pharmaceuticals, a move which could hit Australian exports. Reporter Chantel Akuri is in Washington. Chantel, good morning. So what are the changes? Good morning. Well, it's been exactly a year since US President Donald Trump first unveiled his controversial Liberation Day tariffs that rattled the global markets and were later struck down in the Supreme Court. And a year on, he's shown no signs of backing away from these aggressive trade measures. Now, this 100% tariff will apply to patented medicines made outside of the US, and companies that are shifting manufacturing to the US or are ensuring or carrying out negotiations with the administration could face a reduced 20% rate. Now, a senior administration official says that companies could also strike what they're calling a most favoured nation deal that would bring the tariff down to zero. Now, in terms of Australia and what part we play in this, pharmaceuticals are a major Australian export to the US with around $1.6 billion USD in 2023 to 2024. And a lot of that trade comes from a Melbourne-based company called CSL. They've been heavily investing in US manufacturing, and they previously said that these threatened tariffs would not have a material impact. We know that much of the industry has been preparing for this moment. Just last July, the Trump administration foreshadowed a 200% tariff, so they've had some time to prepare. There are some countries, including Japan, Korea, Switzerland, and the UK, that have been able to negotiate lower rates of around 10 to 15%. We also know, in terms of that Supreme Court decision that was made in February, that this policy has been implemented under national security provisions in US trade law, which would mean that it sidesteps that Supreme Court decision.
Helping people work hard here to be their best out there is how I do care.
Using my science skills to improve the lives of real people.
But basically he's saying I need congressional approval. And he's so wrong. This is being financed privately. It's a donation that's being given by companies, very rich people, so that for 150 years they've wanted a ballroom here. We're going to have the finest ballroom, I believe, anywhere in the world. I'm allowed to, let's see, what is that? To cover the safety and security of the White House and its grounds. So it says here very carefully, the safety and security have to be protected of the White House grounds. Well, that's what we're doing, because everything's bulletproof glass, etc., including the ballroom. And then it goes construction and all of the things necessary. It says personal safety of the president and his staff are a part of that. So it talks about that we're allowed to continue building. In other words, he put an order on, and even that he gave 14 days. We don't need it, because that's what we're doing. He's allowed to continue building as necessary. And when it talks about the safety and security of the White House and its grounds,
Did President Trump just hand Democrats a big gift for the midterms?
As if escalating frustration over spiking gas prices and a souring economy aren't enough, here he is, making clear what are not on his list of priorities.
We can't take care of daycare. We're a big country. We have 50 states. We have all these other people. We're fighting wars. We can't take care of daycare. It's not possible for us to take care of daycare. Medicaid, Medicare, all these individual things, they can do it on a state basis. You can't do it on a federal. We have to take care of one thing, military protection. We have to guard the country. But all these little things, all these little scams that have taken place, you have to let states take care of them.
Those remarks came at a White House event yesterday that was closed to the press, but video of it was briefly posted to the White House YouTube channel before it was taken down. Too late, though. It was already downloaded by a journalist for Business Insider who posted it to X. Joining us now, Maya Rupert, who served as senior advisor for the Elizabeth Warren campaign and former campaign manager for Julian Castro. Okay, Maya, so midterms are approaching. I don't know if you knew that. Will we be seeing Trump calling daycare, Medicare, Medicaid a scam in more than a few political ads?
It's got to be absolutely everywhere. I mean, I think someone should call and make sure that the president hasn't given Democrats an in-kind donation that would need to be reported. It's going to be that will be in everyone's ad. It will be on everyone's lips, because what he just did was to give away the whole store. When Donald Trump was running, he ran on affordability, he ran on lowering costs, and he ran on an end to forever wars. Now he's saying the federal government can't do anything to make anyone's lives better. All it can do is enter into wars with no end in sight, no benchmarks to tell people when the war is actually going to end. That's what he's concerned about. And he called daycare, healthcare, the things that our families are struggling with, the things that are bankrupting people. He called them little things, and he called them a scam. And that, as far as I'm concerned, is what every Democrat should be running on, and is what every Republican is going to need to run from. And that's the interesting, I think, part of the story. How are Republicans going to try to situate themselves? Are they going to be honest and try to, win their elections? Or are they going to keep kowtowing to Trump, let him say whatever he wants to say, and sink all of them?
Well, that's a key question, right? Because I say this all the time. The most reliable voters are older voters for whom Medicare and Medicaid might make a little bit of difference, and who might also have grandchildren and care about whether or not they have daycare. Having said that, right, there's also a contrast, right? You've got Trump's priorities, what seem to be his priorities besides the war, a gilded ballroom, a huge gold statue of himself in a skyscraper presidential library with his name and lights. Are they really no more than fodder for SNL or late night talk? Or is this contrast a real problem for Republicans?
I think it's a huge problem. I think taking it outside of the, gilded ballroom, whatever else, right? What it's doing, it's showing priorities, right? That's when he is saying this other stuff, these are small things, the things that matter in individual people's lives, in families' lives, when those become small. But he's spending his time and energy and tax dollars on the things that very clearly showcase his priorities. And they are so self-focused, they are so self-centered, and they are so much about his own legacy at the expense of the American people. I think that is, the SNL jokes write themselves, but the other thing that writes itself is it's the response to that, right? And so I think, again, a lot of Republicans are running right now, trying desperately to win Donald Trump's endorsement and hope that he can continue to bring some of them to victory. Every single reporter and every single competitor against those people should be asking, where are your priorities? Do you think the president should be spending money on this when gas prices are what they are, when grocery prices are what they are, and now we're in another war with absolutely no end in sight? People should have to answer for that, because he should not be allowed to say his priorities are one thing, but then show us what they are by the way he spends.
Maya Rupert, always good to see you. Thank you.
Really good to see you.